Today's video is going to be number 7 in the beginner's guide, and it's going to be about the scraper. Before I go into that, I'd like to give a shout out to a French wood turner, and he goes by the name of Lolo the Turner, and he has some wonderful stuff on there, and it's a joy to watch him work. So if you're just starting out or an experienced turner alike, I strongly recommend going over to his channel and having a look at some of the wonderful pieces that he produces. I'll put a link in the description down below, as I usually do, and again, a big thank you to all my subscribers. And one word of note, I'd like to thank everybody who takes the time and trouble to comment on my videos, not just with the compliments but also with suggestions, because I learn a lot from those suggestions, as I'm sure my subscribers and viewers will do. So keep that going, it's brilliant. We'll go over to the lathe now and we'll have a look at the scraper. Okay, now here we have a 3/4 inch round nose scraper, and the bevel angle that I use is 55 degrees from the heel to the toe. The recommended angles are anything between 50 degrees and 65 degrees. I just find that 55 suits me very well. They're possibly the easiest, if not the easiest, tool to sharpen and to change the profile. The square end scraper, I have a little one which I use for boxes, and again 55 degree bevel angle. At the other end of the scale is my large bowl scraper. It is great for smoothing out tool marks, etc. on the inside of larger bowls. And as you can see on this one, I'm currently changing the bevel angle. It was currently 70 degrees at the top here, and I'm changing it to 55 because I've decided that's the angle for me. Trial and error, and you'll find the angle that suits you best with a minimum of effort to change that angle. I picked up a second-hand square end scraper on eBay quite cheaply, and I reground it to make a mini bowl scraper, if you like, again at 55 degree angle, and that's great for the inside of small boxes and little bowls, etc. And it's surprisingly good for the edge of larger bowls as well. I find that works pretty well. So as I say, the scraper is the easiest to sharpen. In actual fact, if you use a diamond credit card, often I won't go to the grinder for quite a while. Again, I'll use the credit card diamond file from Trend, and you merely place it on the heel and the toe to cover the bevel, and just go round the cutting edge, maintaining bevel contact, and that then will bring up your edge again, because at the end of the day with scrapers you're creating a burr, and it's the burr that does the cutting. The thing is, always make sure that you have a sharp tool, as with any turning tools. Now, as far as tool rest height is concerned, I like to have the tool rest at a height which means which then allows me to lift the handle so that I'm cutting just above centre with the handle lifted, so I am actually pointing down to the work. Now, it's a great way of making coves, for example. Speed I like to use, as again with all turning, as high as possible, because you get a better finish. Now, when you're on side grain, you are going to get a little bit of tear out, depending how hard you push in. Now, you don't want to use much pressure. Let the tool do the work, as I always say. And you can make coves, as I say, like so. And it's very easy to shape. Now the harder you press, the more tear out you're going to get. I'm turning there at about 2,700 revs, but I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's not a bad service, but it's not perfect. Now the thing is that you can in actual fact shear scrape. Now this piece here has got quite a bit of tear out. So you can actually, as I say, shear scrape. Now shear scraping with a scraper, you have to find the sweet spot. Again, you are pointing your cutting edge downwards at a bit more of an angle than I would be if I was using it as normal, and you have to find the sweet spot. So what's happening is that when the work is approaching the cutting edge, instead of scraping as that's doing, you're actually slicing. So again, to recap, if you lift your handle, turn the tool to approximately 45 degrees, and again you're cutting just above centre, and you find that spot where, as the work is approaching the blade, it is slicing the fibres as opposed to scraping them. Now that's got a nice curl there, but it is ripping the fibres. So now I don't know if it picks it up there. Now if I go back over that in a shear scraping mode, the piece that I've just shear scraped, which is just here from there to there, is much smoother than here, so that will then cut down on the sanding needed on your side grain. Now I'll change the camera angle and we'll go over to hollowing with the scraper. Okay, so we've got an end grain situation here. So again, the tool rest height is at such a height where your handle is higher than the rest, and you are approaching the work with the cutting edge just on centre with your handle raised, and you can then square off. Now, if I do a fairly aggressive cut, I don't know if the camera will show it, hopefully it will, but that's a fairly, there's quite a bit of torn out grain there. Now to combat the torn grain, we shear scrape. So again, presenting the tool with a handle raised, twisting about 45 degrees and finding that sweet spot, and very, very light cuts. And we are getting very fine shavings, and you'll see, hopefully, that torn grain has virtually disappeared, because you are, as I say, cutting the fibres as opposed to to scraping them. And again, virtually gone, ready for sanding. Now the other thing you can use the scraper for obviously is hollowing, and again tool rest remains at the same height, and to allow you to go in at centre, just above centre, with the handle raised. So in and towards the middle. Quite an effective way of hollowing out. Now the thing is, obviously the finish depends on how sharp your tool is and the type of wood that you're turning. Now if you want to go and put a mortise, for example, on the end of a box, then if you use your square scraper, again at the same aspect with the handle raised and in, you get a very nice square wall for your mortise. Now if you use the smaller round nose profile for this, for example, this will show you again that I need to raise the tool rest slightly because it is a little bit thinner stock than the other one. So you start on centre, slightly above centre, and bring round. And as I say, I can't stress enough that the lighter strokes you take, the better the finish off the tool will be. But it is a very effective method of moving a lot of stock. The finish is not perfect, but if I use my little bowl type scraper at an angle, hopefully again you can see that that area there which I've used this with contrasts much smoother than the rest of the inside of the bowl. Now what I've done here on this platter, or bowl cum platter, call it what you will, I went a bit thin in the middle there, so I'm going to have to do some work on that. However, I've put a few tool marks in and hopefully the camera picks them up, and I'll show you how by shear scraping you can actually remove those and leave a very fine surface. Again, tool rest at the height where there's the middle of the bowl. I'll just mark that. There's the centre of the bowl, so that's centre height. So just above centre on the horizontal, and then that allows you to lift the handle and cut on centre with a downward aspect of the cutting area. Now if we do the edge first, you can see I've put some fairly, no, I won't show. I will show you what I do. Now this is the round nose scraper. Again, lift the handle, turn the tool to approximately 45 degrees and find this, what I call the sweet spot, and start to, so you can see the fine shaving that we're getting. Now that's getting rid of the tool marks there, and there is very little, if any, torn out grain. The bowl is a little bit out of centre, out of true I should say. And you can see the fine shavings that we're getting. Somebody, I think it was Lowell Jameson, said angel hair, and that's basically what it is. So that hopefully will show you what you can actually achieve on the. There's a bit of torn grain there because I didn't cover that properly. And that's got rid of it. Now on the inside of the bowl, unfortunately I can't use my big scraper because it's not sharpened yet, but I can get away with using the small one that I made myself. Again, the same theory of the tool rest at a height where you are above centre height, so that you tilt the nose of the tool into the work. Now these marks here will be removed in exactly the same way. Now I'm not scraping, I'm shear scraping. I've got the angle of the tool at approximately 45 degrees. Very little pressure. And you can see the fine shavings that we're getting there as well, and starting to remove those tool marks. And in fact on the outer edge now, and very little torn grain as well, so it's a very effective method of getting rid of your tool marks and getting down to sanding. Somewhere starting to sand around 180, 240, something of that ilk. So hopefully that's demonstrated to you the uses of the scraper. I'm sure there are many more ways that you can use it that I haven't found yet or don't practice myself at this moment, but comments will be welcome as usual. And thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers now.